The child is never at fault, ever. May sound like a bold statement for a Friday, but it's something that we seriously need to consider. Now, I get many messages, requests from parents, grandparents, professionals every day saying things like, my 6-year-old is doing this, how do I get them to stop it, how do I get them to understand, my 3-year-old won't do this or that or whatever. And of course, this is really, really hard. When we're raising children, we end up feeling like we are failing because our child isn't doing something that, for some mystical reason we feel they should be. And it's usually to do with beliefs that have been handed down to us, things that we experienced as a child, which mean that our expectations of the child in front of us are out of kilter. Now, by that I mean that it's, we can have all the expectations we want in the world, and many of us do. But in reality, if the child in front of us is finding it difficult to do something or not do something, they keep forgetting, they say no, whatever it is, then is it their fault? Do they need to change their behaviour in some way? Do they need to modify themselves? Do they need to listen more clearly to what you're saying? Do they need more explanations of why they need to do this or not do that? Absolutely, they flipping don't. Even by the time a child is, 2.5, they're beginning to get, okay, so when I do these things, I can feel the shift in energy in the adults around me, particularly the ones they're close to. And of course, they can't intellectually understand, daddy or granny or whoever it is annoyed with me, but they can sure as hell feel the shift in energy from a more soft, connecting energy to a harder, tighter energy. So deep down inside them, they start picking up on, what seems to feel more comfortable for them to be around and in, and what seems less comfortable. Again, can't intellectually rationalize it, but can feel it. And of course, if they could stay in that lovely, calm, safe, connecting, like a lovely warm bath energy with the adults they're with, of course they would. It feels amazing if you've ever experienced it as an adult, that person you just can completely relax with, feel just really be yourself, no filter, feel safe, no judgment. It feels amazing. It's pretty rare, but it's really lovely, and hopefully you have that person. Now, of course, if a child could slow themselves down, remember what you said, catch themselves before they push their brother again, all those things, they absolutely would, because it would keep them in that lovely, connecting, flowing, energy with you. When they can't, it's definitely not their fault. They are not making a conscious decision. They don't think, I am just going to not put my toys away. I'm just not going to do it. No, the reality of a child's nervous system, which of course includes their brain, is that they live very much in the moment, and they may hear the words that come out of your mouth and they may get them, but then the next moment they're away in their mind, in the land of rainbows and dinosaurs that, have friends who are unicorns and who knows what. Even older children, they don't necessarily hang on to what you've said, and depending on how you've delivered it, they definitely won't. So the more you scare them, the more it will put them in a kind of freeze response, and it's much harder to remember stuff then. So what can you do? What can you do? Because it can seem so frustrating. As I say, many of my clients who contact me in between sessions, it's about the understandable frustrations they're feeling, the confusion about, but I'm doing this, but my child is still, not settling down and eating their food. They're still yelling no at me when it comes to bedtime or whatever it is. Or my teenager, just keeps slamming their bedroom door and doesn't want me in there. It's hard. So the foundation of all of this, so it is good news, is you. Now, that may not feel like good news, but it truly is, because when we keep looking at the child with frustration and resentment and irritation and exhaustion and all that stuff, it makes it much harder for them because they're then under the weight of all that. But it also makes it harder for us because it's harder for us to get into our heart and feel the calmness and compassion and connection they need in order to begin to just flow through life. And when our expectations are out of kilter with what they can actually do and deliver on, and that can vary from moment to moment, as it does for us. Sometimes we have our meal and we straight away we're like, okay, I'm gonna go sort the dishes out right now. And other times we have our meal and we're like, I'll just jump on Facebook and blah blah blah, and no, they're still here, I'm so tired, I'm going to leave them till tomorrow. Although for some people that would not be a thing, for me it definitely would be a thing. But you see what I mean? It's like we're not robots, most of us. We sometimes feel like doing stuff, sometimes we don't, sometimes we forget, sometimes we get distracted. So of course that's times 3,000 million in a child. So the key to this is us being much calmer and honestly much kinder when we get into that space of, okay, so I've asked my child to do this, hopefully calmly and kindly, and it's not happened, or I've asked them not to do it and it hasn't happened. So they need extra support from me. They need extra help from me. They might need me to do it with them. They might need, all those things are possibilities. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're not making them dependent. They're meant to be dependent anyway. You're just modelling when someone is struggling, then we help them. And they may just say partway through, it's okay, I've got this. Or, it gives you that moment of interaction anyway, and you chat and it's fun. And then, when they're older, things like tidying up won't feel like it does for me. It will just feel like something that needs to be done, and because there's not a horrible negative energy attached to it, they'll just get on and do it. So it's being in this place where we always, as soon as we can feel ourselves going into kind of like a hard, like, for goodness sake, or why are they being so difficult, or what's wrong with them, that's when we massively need to just focus on ourselves and bring ourselves back into our hearts. If we are not viewing our children through the eyes of our heart, so therefore with compassion, why they are finding this difficult, how can I emotionally support them? Maybe they need some physical help. Who knows what it is? But that's my curiosity, is always through the eyes of my heart. Then things really, really start to shift. Now, I'm not saying that's easy. It's not easy because most of us, our nervous systems are wired to very quickly go into, feeling hot and hard and resentful and angry and frustrated, because that's what, many of us experienced as children. So the work that I do, that's what we first work with. We work with bringing this amazing flexibility and health and balance into your nervous system as the platform for everything you do moving forward as a parent. So please remember that children are always doing their best. You are always doing your best. It's just about catching yourself, calming yourself, and moving into your heart. Take care.